Hello and welcome to A Gooner Ramble, an AFTV podcast. Don't be alarmed by a different sounding voice. It's only me, regular James, filling in for Giles, who is in Manchester, possibly on Canal Street celebrating right now, and Jasper, who can't be here tonight for other reasons. But we do have some great guests for you. It's regular Judd. How you doing, mate?
Absolutely brilliantly tonight.
Good. Hopefully third time's a charm, eh? Some technical issues. And we have a debutant tonight. We have Clive Palmer. Clive, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good. Really good. Great
man.
Night for a debut.
Okay, so obviously, great 2-1 win at the Theatre of Screams, it's been called beforehand. We haven't got a win there in, I think it was the last, 15 odd attempts, was it, or so?
I thought it was 10.
2006 or so?
10.
Oh, 10.
I heard.
Wow. Well, anyway, guys, I'll go straight to you, Clive. What did you make of the lineup tonight?
The lineup was it's easy to say it's good now, but earlier on today, like we always try to do amongst ourselves, I tweeted out what I thought the team would be. Just a complete guess. And I just had a feeling for Welbeck starting. Of course, Giroud's been in great form, so I got a bit of objections coming back my way. But I just felt Wenger would give him his chance. I think mentally it's really important for him to start this game. It would have been terrible for him to go back to Old Trafford and be on the bench and all those sort of, rumours about his performance, rumours that he wasn't good enough. And to go back with a substitute tracksuit on, I think it would have really hurt him. So Wenger really put his faith in him and he really paid him back really, really well. Again, one of the other things that I would have done myself, I would have started Chambers. I just feel Manchester United now are really, they're quite a long ball team.
I call them Champagne Stoke.
They're a long ball team. They look for diagonals, they look to pick on small fullbacks. And I just thought, they haven't got no pace for Chambers to worry about. I thought, maybe it was his day. It ended up, actually, we got away with that one, because Bellerin could easily have been sent off, and Chambers came in. I thought he sort of made us look a little bit more solid, but the rest of the team sort of picks itself, in my opinion. So,
Judd, I'll come to you. Wojciech Szczesny in goal. You're the goalkeeper, man. What did you make of that call? Because obviously there was ramblings he was possibly injured, or there's been question marks over his mind and his form. What did you make of Wojciech Szczesny's performance in goal today?
Well, the performance, I don't think, really did anything to ease any questions about where his head's at. He was adequate throughout. I mean, he had his shaky moments, but, on the goal, he was pretty much helpless. So, you can't really hold that against him. And the rest of his performance was, sufficient. He wasn't really truly tested that often. I think he had, one, flap at a ball past his far post that he was kind of backpedaling on, and luckily it fell close enough that while he was laying on the ground, he was able to collect it, and it came to nothing. He had a pretty decent punch off of a free kick in the first half. I'm trying to remember. I don't think he really was called upon to make too many saves throughout the match. Most of their opportunities they wound up putting wide or just like a weak header. I think he had one off. I think it was Fellaini off a header that was down near his near post that he made a pretty decent save and hold on. But all in all, I thought it was, a lot like we had seen earlier in the year from him. Just enough to get the job done, nothing to really inspire a whole lot of confidence. His selection certainly wasn't that much of a surprise because, Wenger likes to go with his cup keepers. And I had mentioned during our last podcast that I've never really been a big fan of that, but I understand that that's his policy. And, when you've got a guy with that much, first team experience as your cup keeper, it's hard to complain. But, all in all, it was a decent enough performance, but not enough to win back his first team spot. And, you'd have hoped to see more from a keeper that was dropped. More inspired play from him, but, as Clive was saying in the first call that we unfortunately wound up losing, you'd expect a person that had been dropped to be a little bit more fired up than he appears to be. He appears to be kind of sulking and disappointed.
It's quite languid, is it the word?
Yeah. You know, and that's unfortunate, and you know, I hope, you know, I've never been a huge Szczesny fan anyway, because, you know, I thought that many of the fans looked past some of his shortcomings because of his antics off the field and his Twitter account, and I thought that he needed to focus more on, you know, fixing some of the weak spots in his game, but I'd hate to see his career die. I mean, he's so young and he's got such a long time in front of him, and I hope that he's able to, you know, get his head back and get focused on winning his spot back, because it would always be nice to have 2 top-class keepers in the squad.
Fair assessment. Talking of players, for me, man of the match wise, Nacho Monreal. I thought it was coolness personified for his goal, and I thought the way he dealt defensively, apart from when Di Maria had the cross, obviously, for Rooney's goal, I thought maybe he could have drawn himself out a bit more to stop Di Maria from whipping the ball in. I thought it was fantastic. Clive, who stood out for you today?
Yeah, Monreal's been a massive improvement. I think he just worked out in England. People are going to run at you, and you can't give them time to turn and pick up pace. You know, so he's got a lot tighter. He's a lot more what I call front foot defending, and he's you know, since he went to centre back for a little while, you know, he doesn't phase it. You know, it doesn't phase him when the ball's in the air. I think he's really improved. And you know, as an all-round fullback, he's in the last third. He's just calm. He does find his man on the cross. And sometimes Gibbs, for all his pace and mobility, and the fact that he's obviously English, we all want him. You know, most of us want him to be the first pick. If you look at what he actually produces, you know, where is the end product? Monreal's end product is better. He can combine short passes, he can deliver long crosses, and he can finish. So in the last third, I think he's better than Gibbs. I think defensively, he's more robust, he's improved. Gibbs has got the pace, so it's really quick wingers, but again, we're looking at depth of squad now. We've got 2 different types of left backs, both experienced. We've got our fast flyaway fullbacks, and we've got our more robust, steady fullbacks. So Monreal at the moment is slightly ahead. Honestly, Coquelin, you know, since he's come in, he's basically just shone. He's just shone, and he did it again tonight when he's got Rooney around him, he's got Fellaini around him, he's got Carrick coming on.
His nose busted open again as well, didn't he? He done well from that. He's a battler, isn't he? He doesn't seem to give in. He doesn't shy away from the fight, which, for an Arsenal player, over the years we've had a reputation of signing these intricate, small, you know, tippy-tappy ball players, but it's quite nice to see, you know, a strong, proper lad out there that's going to give it a big one in the big games. And I think he G's the team up a bit, doesn't he? You can see when he waves his arms like, come on, what you do? You know, he does a lot of leading. He does more than certainly. I thought Mertesacker played well today, but he's not the most vocal of captains from what I see anyway. But I think Coquelin does his job for him, and you don't want to stand in someone who's as aggressive as that way, do you?
Yeah, Coquelin he's got pace. So straight away on Old Trafford, it's a wide pitch, right? So when they break into wide areas. But he can run with you, you know, he can run with Rooney, he can run with Di Maria. When they tried to break on us like they did in the home game, you know, we were slow-footed, you know, we were in the wrong places. But with Coquelin there, he knows when to step in and when to just track and cover the space. And I think he's almost been our season saviour so far. Excellent.
And I'll go to you, Judd, quickly on a man that was dubbed not good enough to start at Old Trafford in Danny Welbeck. What did you make of his performance tonight? I know Clive touched upon it about how, you know, taking him there in a tracksuit and having him sit on the bench, would it have been the best thing? I thought it was unbelievable, the goal. I mean, Antonio Valencia, thank you so much. What an assist. What an absolute, you know, he wrapped that up for, must have thought Danny Welbeck was still playing for United.
Everything will put a bow on it.
Yeah, and, you know, we talk about goalkeepers with you, especially, but De Gea's no mug, and he rounded him. And still slots it in.
What? You know, it was one of those where, as a keeper, it's a nightmare because you're not sure if you're going to be able to get there or not, and you've got to commit early. And it was just at that in-between stage where Welbeck was just able to get there that half step before him, you know, and De Gea's, you know, entire momentum was forward, and once he just got that little nick past him, he was helpless. You know, and what a storybook poetic way for Welbeck to get that goal, to get the winner at Old Trafford. Is that the first time that we've played there with him?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was the first time.
So
He's never scored. He never scored an FA Cup goal at Old Trafford for Man United, but he's got one for Arsenal.
I think I heard during the match it was his first goal atLd Trafford in over 2 years or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or it was like a year and a half.
Stats are quite quick, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I heard it was one of the comments from one of the commentators during the match, but it had been a while. But yeah, you couldn't write it better than that. You couldn't script it better than that. I mean, it was perfect.
He's definitely put himself in Arsenal folklore now, hasn't he, with that goal? That's the kind of thing that we were talking about during the pod leading up to the game. You know, you need to have that inspired performance in the big games because I think we were talking about Ozil at the time. He gets a lot of criticism, and Giroud gets a lot of criticism for going missing in the big matches, and this was the opportunity for one of them to really step up and be counted. And I think, you know, Welbeck, all in all, for the entire match, you know, it was a lot of what we had seen before. You know, he's kind of had those matches where he kind of fades in and out and seems kind of, you know, out of position at times. And I thought during the first half he was kind of getting into that same kind of rhythm, or lack of rhythm, to say it better. Yeah.
But, you know, he was able to get that goal, and then all the rest is forgotten. So...
Definitely. Yeah, we're still on cloud nine, aren't we?
You can't criticize a guy after scoring a winner at Old Trafford for the first time in, you know, what's it been, 4 years that we won there? Dream night.
Sorry, Clive, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, once the goal went in, I mean, because he was working hard before the goal.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of criticism on the TV on what I was watching. They were saying he wasn't holding the ball up at half time, but you know, we were getting some work rate from him. But once he scored, for about 10, 15 minutes after the goal, he was literally outstanding. He was everywhere. He was coming deep, he was laying it off, he was spinning in behind, and his confidence just went through the roof. And I think, you know, sometimes the manager doesn't always get it right, but he certainly got that selection right, and he deserves a lot of praise. And I think his career can really kick on now at Arsenal, because that was what he needed to get off his back. And now he's got that mental freedom now. He's sort of laid the ghost to Man United, and I think he could really kick on. And he's got everything. And what an amazing physique, amazing stamina. I mean, he's got it all there. He just needs to relax in the box a little bit more and finish, and he could be a real player.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Another thing I'll talk about, quick touch upon, a lot of refs lately, a lot of criticism, especially in not even just England, in Britain in general, after the Celtic game of the weekend. God knows what happened there with the refereeing display. But how did you guys, I think Michael Oliver, he's the youngest ref in the Premier League. What did you guys, make of the way he handled the game? I think, for a referee in a big game like that, and you can say Man United aren't the Man United of old and Arsenal aren't the Arsenal of old, but that's still a massive, massive, colossal of a game. And I think he got every big decision right tonight. What did you guys think? I'll go to you, Clive, first.
Yeah, I think he got every decision right, despite the fact that Wayne Rooney was trying to referee that game. I mean, he never left his side. I'd like to see the heat map of Rooney and the heat map of Michael Oliver. I bet it was like identical, so.
I think he'll get sent off one day for the dissent, surely. He's always in their ear, isn't he?
Yeah, he does the game. That's what a captain should do, right? He does his job for his club. But you know what? The referee just gave what he saw. And not enough refs do that, Sometimes, pressure, there's a lot of pressure in obviously refereeing games, but he just rose above the pressure and gave what he saw. And on the second one, when Januzaj went over, I thought, well, that's it. They put the pressure on him. If he gave that penalty, none of us would have said anything. We would have thought, that's just what happens at Old Trafford. But he didn't. He still knew what he saw, and he didn't give it. I thought, let me look at this a bit more closely. And then you see that he was correct. But how many referees have fallen for that trick? And I think he's made a big name for himself, and hopefully he'll get the final.
Judd, what about you, mate?
Well, I tweeted during, I think it was right after the dive by Januzaj, I tweeted out, I've never really been one to care for a referee, but I love this one.
Absolutely.
Because, I thought for sure, like Clive was saying, he thought that Rooney was reffing the game. I thought for sure that they were going to talk Oliver into giving a second yellow to Bellerin there at, the 60-minute mark just before he was taken off for Chambers.
Yeah, he was a lucky boy.
They got in his face.
I thought he was very lucky.
Well, I saw Oliver take the yellow card out, and I thought, oh, man, are you freaking kidding me? But then he went back for a foul like 3 minutes earlier by, I think it was Rojo on
he should have been sent off.
Zorla.
It's a 2-footer.
Yeah,
disgusting. Could have been a leg
straight from behind.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, I was so relieved. And then one thing that I've always been irked by is referees will call a player for a dive and award a free kick to their team and then not present that player with a yellow. But Michael Oliver did that twice today. Mm-hmm. Love that. If you saw it enough that you're going to award a free kick, then it's, by the letter of the law, it's a yellow.
Yeah, he's got Januzaj himself. He's got more bookings in his career for dives than goals now. So it's a great reputation for a young player to have.
Spending too much time with Ashley Young.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, Ashley Young's embarrassing. I think. They've got it in their locker for sure.
There were a couple things here and there that I thought that he missed. I thought that Welbeck was pulled down there in the first half from behind. I think Welbeck did make a meal out of it, to make it more obvious, so maybe that's why it wasn't given. But then, I can't remember when it was. I think it was in the first half, because we were attacking that end. And there was, I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Monreal tried to, volley across and it was blocked, like right in front of him. And then we didn't get a corner out of it. I mean, it was a blatant corner that he missed. So I thought it was going to be another one of those matches like, oh man, here we go again. We're not going to get anything in favor of,
Well, they still got their Fergie time as well, and he's long gone.
Yeah.
Still got, I sat there like, 5 minutes? What the? Where did this come from?
I had the same initial reaction, but after you stop and think about it a little bit, there were some pretty protracted stops for, bickering between the captain and Michael Oliver. So, I mean, I can kind of understand where he came up with that number. And there were, the 2 goals. Or wait, no, 1 goal in the second half. But either way, and of course the fact that we were only up 1 goal made it that much more nervy. And speaking of which, to be a gracious winner, that De Gea, holy cow, man.
Yeah.
What a game did he have.
He'll get Man United about 9 points himself, mate, this season.
Oh, it was funny. Sure. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't see it over there, but on Fox Sports, we got a guy that used to play for the U.S. national team doing commentary now. Name escapes me, not important, but his initial thing was after the game, where would Man United be? He was asked, where would United be without De Gea? And he said mid-table. And he couldn't have been more right. I mean,
definitely.
Tonight being the perfect example. If De Gea, any other keeper was in goal besides De Gea, that game's 4-1.
Yeah.
He had that brilliant save on Cazorla, and then when we had that counterattack late in the game, I think it might have been in the stoppage time, he had that fingertip save from
I
Sanchez.
Still don't know why Ozil didn't shoot. Baffled me. I know maybe it was because he was on his right foot, but I thought surely Ozil wants to hit this top bins, get that get the monkey off his back, but he went for the pass, which he's called the king of assists. That's probably why he's done it. But
he's got a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, we're through back at Wembley again, our second home, as I like to call it. And we've either, got possibly Bradford or Reading in the next round. What do you guys make of that? And then obviously afterwards we've got the final, which could be against Tactics Tim at Aston Villa, or possibly the Liverpool, who could on Steven Gerrard's last ever game in England on his birthday. Football can be cruel. If there's destinies to be fulfilled. What do you guys make of this? I'll go with you, Clive, first.
Yeah, I mean, tonight was a big result. Obviously, I think we had to lay some ghosts over Old Trafford. We sort of win the games. We won 10 out of the last 12, but the 2 we lost were the 2 that we needed to win. Tottenham and Monaco, and they really hurt. So to go to the next big game after a couple of wins, to then actually deliver, I thought in a calm way. In hindsight, in a calm way. I didn't feel like it when we were watching it, but in hindsight, we controlled that second half, and we won that game running away, to be honest. But then I look at the games coming up. Liverpool, they're a concern, and they're a concern because they're making it about them. They're making it about their destiny. They're making it about Gerrard, the FA Cup final on his birthday. And I don't want to be that team that's supporting his big day out. So hopefully we'll get there and we'll spoil that day out, because it looks like an Arsenal-Liverpool final. But if we get there, I think we're better than them. I think we've got the mobility to match their mobility this season, what we didn't have last season. And I do fancy us, but I just don't want to be on the wrong end of a Steven Gerrard birthday party. That's for sure.
Judd, same question to you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, my sentiments are much the same. I hate to, put the horse before the cart, count the chickens before they're hatched, all those cliches. There's still another match before we're in the final, and while it is going to be against a quote unquote lesser opponent,
Well, they beat Chelsea, Bradford. Can we?
Exactly.
We last time we played them, we did lose. So can we really?
Yeah, you can't take it for granted that we're going to just skate right by them, and they're certainly going to be up for the game. I mean, I don't know the history of Bradford very well, but I got to imagine it's been a while since they've been in Wembley.
Since they played Swansea in the League Cup, I believe they were in the final when they against Swansea. Was it 2 years ago?
Oh, is that all it's been?
Yeah.
Well then.
They
There's no big occasion
the
for
year
them.
they beat us, I think they went to
oh, did they?
To play Swansea,
Okay.
didn't they? I think Laudrup won the cup for Swansea that year, I believe.
Yeah, that's 5-0 or something like that.
Yeah, that's it, Clive. Spot on.
But either way, I mean, it's a big occasion for them, certainly. So there's no doubt in the fact that they're going to be up for it.
Yeah, that's probably their cup final drawing us in a semi, isn't it? Really, they obviously want to try and get to the final, but even for Reading as well. I mean, the only thing I know about Reading at the moment is they've got they've got Yakubu back.
Yeah,
that's one of the only things I know about them. But obviously, don't underestimate anybody till we play them. But I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's looking. If we're judging by the favourites, an Arsenal-Liverpool final anyway.
It's looking good, but a week or so ago, not many of us would say that we'd lose at home to Monaco. So I've got to learn that lesson.
Well, I was one of the only few. Judd called the scoreline as well. We were only one of the few that thought we were going to beat Man United. I just had a feeling,
Well, I was being optimistic. In my heart of hearts, I was very doubtful.
I just thought, would you one? Come on, if there is a higher power out there, surely just once can Arsenal, scrape a win, and thankfully we did. Let's go to some listeners' questions here. We've got from Guna Ovo on Twitter. He's gone, Wojciech Szczesny looks shaky tonight. Should they start Ospina in the next FA Cup match? And how good was Ozil? Well, we've sort of covered really on Szczesny already, so I'll go for how good was Ozil. I'll give that to Clive first. Clive, what did you make of Mesut Ozil today? Was it a case of he's gone missing in another big game? Or was it, it's what he did was underappreciated?
I didn't really have an issue with him today. I thought he was part of the collective. I think the way I look at Ozil, he's what I call a continuity player, right? So you give him the ball in a difficult situation, and he tidies it up, and it comes out of the situation, and we've still got it. And we're able to keep the ball more in more threatening areas when he's on the pitch. He's not bothered about being a star. He's a character. He's what I call a deferent character. He defers to others, but he takes responsibility. So one of the most bravest players you find are the ones that are always available. And he works so hard to be available to help a teammate out of a pass. So he doesn't get dispossessed. So if you're playing with him, you must love him because he's always there for you. He makes you look good. So I think people expect him to be getting it top corner and banging it in. But that's just not his game. He'd much rather make you look good. And that pass in the box to Sanchez is classic Ozil. He's not only passed him, but he's killed the defenders, stone dead, on their heels, disguised it, out to the side, And Sanchez scores, he jogs away with another assist.
Oh, it would have been a beautiful goal to see. I just think, do you think it was a case of, not that he's low on confidence, maybe, was it that he was on his right foot, and like I said, he's got that reputation to uphold as, an assister more than a goal scorer. Do you think maybe he wasn't confident enough to take the shot, or do you think he was just going
I never thought he would shoot. I just thought he would do what he always does, and that is take the best option. And he doesn't care about himself. He does not care about his own reputation.
He's a very selfless player.
He does. He's a team player. That's why Wenger likes him. We've got other players on the bench, like said Theo Walcott, that's actually not really a team player, doesn't do the work.
It was a weird one. He was stripped ready to come on, wasn't he, Theo? And then all of a sudden he threw his shirt off and it looked like he was in a hump. I don't know what happened there, but
Wenger's definitely changed this year. He's looking for players who can play combination football, that want to do all aspects of the game, which means when we've got the ball, you've got to think like an attacker. When we haven't got the ball, you've got to think like a defender. Other top managers wouldn't accept players that don't do both sides of the game. Ozil's working. If Ozil can work, then Theo can work. So I just think I got no issues with him at all. I think, every now and again he should be taken out just to make sure he doesn't burn out. And for the first time, we've got the squad to probably do that. So as long as we manage his game time, I've got no issues with him at all.
Brilliant. And Judd, I know you've got to shoot off in a minute, but do you want to just quickly have a few words on Mr. Ozil tonight?
Yeah, I think Clive hit the nail on the head. He's the big cog in the machine that, doesn't look like it's doing a lot, but it's creating a tremendous amount of work. And like he was saying, when he's got that opportunity there for that third goal, he's going to take that best option. And more times than not, it is squaring the ball to the side, because then you're putting the keeper, he's on the movement, gives the guy that was receiving the pass the opportunity to go back across the grain. Keeper's going to be wrong-footed. That's usually the better option. It just didn't work out this time. But all in all, I think there's certainly nothing you could criticize out of today's match. The work rate was there. The involvement was there. He's pulling the strings from behind the curtain. He's making things happen. And I think sometimes people just expect, because of the price tag, that he's going to score goals like Cristiano Ronaldo, but that's not his game. That's not his game. So I don't have any beef with him. I certainly never did. Well, let me rephrase that. Certainly didn't have as much as most other Arsenal fans. Sometimes I do feel that because of the nature of his game, when he's a little bit off, it looks really bad. Because if, what I mean? If he's not, really getting that much influence, throughout the match, then he's certainly not going to be scoring the goals. If he's not creating them either, then it's real easy to look really bad when you're having that kind of day. But all in all, today I thought he was, back towards his best. Not quite at his peak, but from what we've seen at Arsenal, this is the Ozil that we got, and I'm perfectly happy.
Good. Got another question here from R6 Jensen. He says, didn't matter how well or how poor Arsenal played tonight, this was about getting an annoying monkey off our back, and we done that. For me, I thought first half maybe, we got the goal, like I said, corners personified, and then Wayne Rooney, just maybe, bit of shoddy defending here and there if I'm nitpicking. But second half, I thought we were all over Man United. I thought that we were the better side, definitely. What did you think, Clive?
Yeah, for me, definitely as well. I think going to these grounds, we've been to these top four grounds and home and away, and the number one thing we lack is belief. And from the moment I started watching that game today, there was a different sense of belief. I just felt that we believed something good was going to happen, and we played like it. I thought our combination play in central midfield, I was a bit worried when Man United made the substitutes at half time. I thought, taking off Herrera, who was small but technically decent, and then bringing on Jones and bringing on Carrick, I just thought Manchester United were going to go for the set-piece goal to try and steal the game and try to outmuscle us and kick us. But I thought Cazorla, I thought the introduction of Ramsey brought some energy, and then Ozil and just continuing the ball movement. Sanchez coming deep, Welbeck coming deep. We just had we had talent on the pitch that could play an all-round game, and I felt it wore them down. they couldn't focus on any one individual and pin him. We just kept moving it and moving it and moving it until eventually they made the mistake. Then they had to chase the game. So, I mean, executing and scoring the goals always changes the whole concept of the match. And I think we'd executed today where we needed to. So we weren't the one stretched like we were in the home game chasing the game. So I felt really comfortable, really comfortable.
Judd, yourself, mate, what did you make?
Yeah, I think I'm sorry, I forget the gentleman's name that made the comment about getting the monkey off the back. But I thought, that's...
Ryan.
Yeah, that's perfect way to put it. For the last 2 years since Fergie's left, we've certainly been better, on paper than United, but we haven't been able to, to get that win. And perfect example is the 2-1 loss to them earlier this year. I mean, they had two shots, or I think they scored 2 goals from one shot on target. Yeah. And we had the own goal deflection off of Clichy. Yeah, well, no, that's exactly what I mean. It's just like we've been the better team, but for whatever reason, they've been, that bogey club for us now. Usually that term's used for a lesser opponent, but, I don't view United as, for man-to-man an equal opponent to us right now. I think that we are the stronger squad. They've got a couple more talented players here and there, but I think as a whole, our squad is definitely stronger than theirs, and they're a team that we should be able to beat. And I think tonight was finally proof of that. And even the 2-1, we were by far the better team, I thought, on the day as a whole. We just came out losers that day. And today I thought that we got the deserved result finally. And getting that monkey off the back is going to hopefully be great moving forward, because now we know that, we're capable of this. There's no reason that we can't beat, United at Old Trafford. So let's, just kick on and keep this going. And hopefully it leads to bigger and brighter things down the road. Maybe we transfer this on to Chelsea.
Maybe of false dawns. Are we getting a bit premature like we normally do? I mean, we always have to ask.
It's hard not to be excited after a result like this, though.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I'd say revel in it. I'd say bask in it for tonight.
Yeah, and we've shown what we're capable of. We were able to beat City this year.
Yeah.
We're capable of winning these games. And it's just a matter of getting more consistent and doing it more often. And I think that's been one of our Achilles heels over the last few years, is the big games, obviously. But, even then, when we do get the results, we haven't been able to string them together enough. And I think this year we've got a few more of them kicking in closer together. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come and, a brighter future in the next, few months and next year, hopefully.
Well said. Well, I know, Judd, you need to shoot off now, so I'll thank you for your contributions. And,
absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome, mate. Anytime. Okay, we'll go to another question we got here. It's from Tunsdev. It's only me and you now, Clive.
That's okay.
Do you think Ozil gets harsh criticism from, i.e., Scholes and the press, when Di Maria has possibly been worse? And I know we touched about it in the first of the many recordings we tried tonight, but what did you make of Di Maria's performance? I mean, for me, he comes across as frustrated. He doesn't get played in the positions which, he's meant to be a mind reader, isn't he? Van Gaal, he's meant to be this genius that brings on a goalkeeper in a World Cup, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, he doesn't play Di Maria in the place where he's bought for, really.
No, I think sometimes we don't realise, we look at our own problems and don't realise other teams' problems. Like, we look at all of our attacking midfielders that we've got. Ozil, Rosicky, Cazorla, Wilshere, Ramsey, Oxlade-Chamberlain. What we are starting to see, even though we've got that number of players, they are developing roles in the team, so, Cazorla settled down to a central role now, a little bit deeper.
Yeah, he played very deep today,
Yeah, and he's very good at that. He's quite disciplined. He stays behind the ball. So
he got a few tackles as well, which is impressive for someone of his size.
So we're not emptying midfield any longer, no. With Ramsey getting far ahead of the ball and leaving us exposed on the break. So Cazorla's keeping his distance to, Coquelin really, really tight. They're working well together. Ozil's working around them, being available. And then you look at Di Maria now, when he was in, a couple of years ago, he was like one of the wide men in the front three. And then when Ozil went to us, he richly became the central guy, the attacking guy in the central three, and he was the one that was furthest up the pitch, playing with energy and transitioning, and probably had his best ever season. Of course, Manchester United bought him £60 million.
Yeah.
But they don't know what to do with him.
No.
So they played him left, they played him right, they tried him centre forward. And I actually feel for him because I think, I read somewhere that he had his house burgled. And
oh, really?
With his family, was in the house, and it's really affected his family. And you can look at him, I think, you know what, he's in trouble, not just on the pitch, but potentially off the pitch as well. And it would not surprise me if they're looking for a club to get him out and get the money back.
Do you think he'll be there next season at all, or do you really think that could be an experiment, maybe like a Varane, really, that they tried it and it really didn't pay off for them?
Yeah, that's a good analogy, the Varane. I think they've got money, obviously. They're printing money at Old Trafford, right? So they can lose 40 million. No one blinks. That's just money in their turn-ups, right? It's not a problem for them. So, but if you look at Mata, he's like a slow version of Di Maria. You've got Rooney wants to play in that hole as well. Van Persie, he's lost his legs. He wants to play in that hole. You've got Falcao, he's a slow centre forward. He's a box player. But, they haven't got no pace. The one pace they had, they gave him to us.
Mm.
True. That's what their fans are going to be saying right now. We had Mertesacker to play against, and we had no one to run against him.
Well, that's the thing as well, I'll play devil's advocate for a bit, but they're chasing a game, they're 2-1 down, you've got Juan Mata and Falcao on the bench. Alright, Mata, obviously, since he's left Chelsea and whatnot, he's not this midfielder that, he really was. He's still capable, I think, and he always seems to perform against Arsenal. And then you've got Falcao, who, alright, not in the best of runs, but you need a goal. You're pumping that ball into the box. He, on his day, is one of the best headers / tap-in merchants in the world. And yet you bring on Januzaj, who really, he must be, no disrespect to lad, he must have thought, well, why have you picked me?
Yeah, exactly. So, the way Man United are playing tonight, they were obviously going to launch into the box and work off Fellaini. And that's when Falcao, he's a pieces player in the box, right? And
he would have thrived.
If he drops to him, then, we could be in a bit of trouble, because that's what he does. I just think, LVG, he's struggling. And the Man United fans are the smart ones. They know he's struggling. Some believe he's a complete fraud. I think it's somewhere in the middle. But what I can't see is I can't see a game plan. I don't know where the identity's going. And Roy Keane was saying on the TV that there's a massive rebuilding job to be done. And I bet a lot of Man United fans are wondering, should we have let David Moyes have a bit longer to rebuild versus someone who we don't even really know? We don't know what his philosophy is. We don't know what he's trying to achieve. We don't know who he's going to buy next year. And so, they've got a real decision to make. And but of course, they've got the funds to make it through.
Yeah, but do you not feel though if Van Gaal, if they don't, qualify for that top four, and will he be given the resources that he was given this season to maybe try again? Because for me, I think their demise personally is hilarious. I'm enjoying every single minute of it, and I just don't know. I'm used to seeing a Man United side that had wingers that you could trust. Giggs, Beckham, the last few years, Ronaldo, people like that. Predators, and for me, Ashley Young and these others that they got now, they're really lackluster. They just don't seem like Man United players for me.
Exactly, I totally agree. When we lost in a home game to Man United, I mean, it broke our hearts, right? But at least it was Arsenal out there. At least we were dashing. It was Wilshere. We had chances. I mean, the goalkeeper had a game of his life. He had another one tonight. But it was Arsenal out there. Even the way we lost it was Arsenal pressing on, no defenders. We could see ourselves. We could see our identity.
Yeah.
And we could see it again tonight. Man United were playing for big moments, and we were more fluent than them. We had more combinations. We may not have had the possession percentage, but the combination passing from us compared to them was massively different. The first thing, if I'm a Man United fan, I can't see a Man United team out there. I see a collection of expensive, lumpy individuals just playing a low confidence game, almost like a territory game. I want it away from my goal. I want it, back to my goalkeeper. I heard on TV that they make more back passes than any other team. That's a team.
Yeah, they got criticised for that, didn't they? I know Van Gaal said he'll try and make them play a bit more expansive, obviously, because they were getting booed, weren't they, by the way they were playing. But yeah, I can see that definitely.
Yeah, they got nothing central. That's why they were playing Rooney centrally to try and get some personality in there. They need 2 or 3 in the centre of the midfield. They need a forward with pace, and they definitely need a right back.
I need a whole new back four for me. I think Luke Shaw's been dreadful this season.
They've invested in him, so they definitely need a right back. They could probably get away with. They've got a lot of left-footed defenders, so Rojo, Blind, and Luke Shaw, so they can probably be okay there. Central defenders, I do like Smalling, strangely enough. I might be one of few, but I do like Smalling.
I don't know if you read our YouTube comments, but you might get a bit of a pasting for that one on Smalling, or
I think he's okay.
Man.
I think he's okay. Yeah. He gives you a chance now and again, but he's quite young for a centre back, and I think he's okay. But Jones, he's not for me. And
you see, for me with Jones is I talk about it quite a lot with Callum Chambers at Arsenal, in the fact that we bought him to play either right back or centre back, but we keep swapping him around, and he's doing this position, he's doing that position. For me with Phil Jones, they signed him. I want to say, I'll take a punt. He was really brought in as a centre-back, wasn't he, from Blackburn? And he's played defensive mid, on the right midfield, on the right back in the centre. Do you think he's done too many things? He's only young still, isn't he? I think he's only 22, 23 still. And, in a young mind, if I've got to learn all these different things over and over and over again, it's got to be a bit of a mishmash in the old brain, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when he was at Blackburn, he used to play left side centre half, and Wenger wanted him. He got outbid basically, and being a northern lad, he stayed up there, and I was a bit disappointed he didn't come. So yeah, he was a left side centre half, and it didn't really move around too much at Blackburn. He's come to Manchester United, and they just renamed him the new Duncan Edwards and put all his pressure on him. And now he's a jack of all trades, really, I'm afraid. And
master of none, really. Is that the phrase?
Exactly. With Chambers, his future is probably going to be as a right-sided centre back, but he's so well coached. When he was coming up through Southampton Academy, he was a defensive midfielder. And he went to right back because they had some injuries. So he played about 19 times as a right back in his debut season. Had a great game against us. And then he came to us, and at the start of the year we had injuries. He saved us basically. And then that one game versus Swansea sort of sticks in people's minds. Everyone just sees how he got outpaced, and they sort of lost a bit of faith in him. But I've got a lot of faith in him. I think he's a bright player. The fact he's an intelligent player, I think he can play right back, centre back, he can play centre midfield. But I think we'll look after him better than Man United looked after Phil Jones. And I think
I see Chambers really as a centre half, and I think he sometimes is exposed at right back, because even though he is young and he is a bit pacey, I just don't think he's as quick as some of the wingers are in the Premier League. And obviously, being a young head, he doesn't really read it as well as others do. But that's obviously young and age, and he does fly in, and he's prone to yellow cards and red cards. But surely he'll kick that out of his game. But I really do feel, as a centre half, I think that's where he'll thrive in. I think centre half would be the best position for him. But anyway, going back to some questions or even statements here, we got one from Eva MCL3, and it's in block capitals. It says, Danny Welbeck scored the winner at Old Trafford. We finally beat United at Old Trafford, and I love you all. I'll turn a question into that. What did you make of when Danny Welbeck scored? Obviously, the celebration was quite tame compared to Van Persie sliding on his knees with his arms out, giving it some. He was booed by their fans when he was taken off. What do you make of that? Do you think that was just bitterness at him scoring against Man United, or do you, because he didn't want to leave there? If you said to Danny Welbeck, I wouldn't say right now probably, because he's probably on cloud nine, but if you said to Danny Welbeck a bit earlier on in the season, would you go back to Man United? I think he'd do it in a heartbeat, wouldn't he?
That's his club.
That's his club. Yeah, he's one of their own.
Manchester boy. He's come through their academy since he was like 8 years of age. I bet he was very disappointed to get booed tonight. But in football, we all sort of, we all speculate on the transfer market. We all want players in. But you know what? It's a harsh world. And sometimes when you're not wanted, it's a really harsh world. And he was basically told he wasn't wanted. He was available to be sold. And I think Man United was surprised that Arsenal came in. And that's when there was discussion about a loan. But Arsenal said it's a buy or nothing. And I think they've stolen somebody. They've stolen a Champions League level player for 16 million quid who's English. There just isn't many of those around. And when you think what they've spent on other players for their squad, their fans tonight are thinking, what have we done?
I bet they're kicking themselves personally. I mean, I know I live in Essex, so there's a load of Man United fans where I live. And they all said to me, you've really got a player there in Welbeck. I can't see the logic in us selling him to you. And I think tonight, the one thing, maybe he's not firing on all cylinders like he should be, or like we expected him to be after obviously he got that hat-trick in the Champions League. But one thing I will say about him is his effort at work rate. He never seems to give up. I mean, a bit like Sanchez tonight, alright, it wasn't the best day at the office and he gave the ball away quite a bit, but he will always go back and try and retain that ball he loses. And I think Welbeck does exactly the same thing. And I think people underappreciate that because they see Welbeck maybe as they want him to be this out-and-out goal-scoring. Maybe like Sturridge, what happened to Sturridge? Chelsea let him go and then he went to Liverpool and he's banging them in for fun. I know they're obviously different players, but that's the sort of perception I think Arsenal fans want from Welbeck, is this goal-scorer like a Sturridge, someone they can rely on all the time. And, he will occasionally hit a fluffer or he'll go on a goal drought, but I think his other work should be appreciated because I really do think he tries so hard for the team.
Yeah, and another one that probably the teammates really appreciate. Yeah. If you watch, sometimes his finishing, if you watch his finishes that he misses, it's always his last stride. He tends to overstride and stretch finishes. And I think if he can just sort that out, he'll get a lot more shots on target and a lot more variation of finishes. But yeah, tonight, he had his moment, and that's one that's going to stay with him. And I'll tell you, you're absolutely right. He's going to be now written in history, in Arsenal history, that he's delivered in a FA Cup quarter-final away at Old Trafford, and he scored the winning goal. That's going to be remembered for a long time.
And the last question we got here is from Welsh Gooner 95. He says, taking off Bellerin for Chambers, fantastic management. I know we've sort of touched on it a bit, but obviously Bellerin was on the yellow card and he was very lucky to not be sent off. I've seen days where they have been sent off, but Callum Chambers, when he come on, he played really well out there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think just touching on Bellerin, I mean, he's had a meteoric rise, and and he's going to.
I worry about Bellerin because I look at Barcelona. And they always seem to buy their players back. And I look at Dani Alves, he's getting old, he's knocking on a bit. I can just see when he really gets in his prime, and Arsenal, I do like my hypotheticals. I could just see him buying him back. And I reckon he'll go, because they all do in the end, don't they?
Yeah, they all do in the end, but we'll cross that one when we come to it. But he's had a meteoric rise, and we must be, Chambers hit a wall early in the season. He played every game, literally for the first 3 months of the season. They just hit a wall right in front of us. And Wenger's took him out and he's kept him out. He's bringing him back slowly. He played really well against, Middlesbrough in the Cup. I thought he was really good. I know it wasn't the highest standard of opponent, but I thought he did well. And I want him to start today because I just think some games suit some players. And, this is a big difference to this season's Arsenal. We've got options. So if you want to sit
deep... We've got three very good right backs, really. I know I said Chambers preferably as a centre-half, but, he can fill in there if he needs to. But, we've got Debuchy coming back as well. But do you feel... I'll throw another one in there. Do you feel when Debuchy is fit enough, he'll come straight back in, or do you think he has to earn his place? Because for me, I think Bellerin should stay in there. I can't, justify dropping him. And I think the same for Monreal. I know Gibbs is a
on his days are fantastic. He can be a fantastic outlet going forward, and he's not the best. He's not a Roberto Carlos all right at the back, but he gets the job done. But for me, I think Monreal is really underappreciated. I think the Spanish contingent at the right and left back position should stay.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just the options, because there'll be certain opponents where
it's a lovely dilemma to have.
Yeah, it's just about options and how we want to play. If we want to sit in like we did at City and play deep and spring from there, you know what? Maybe Chambers is the best option, and Bellerin is much better for the home games when we're running at teams at pace, the smooth Emirates pitch where he can use his skill. Bellerin's a great option, and Debussy sort of falls in between the two. He can sit deep, he's quick enough, he covers round really well the centre backs, but he can also go forward and cross. So Debussy is the experienced one, and depends on the level of game. That we still talk about 2 19-year-olds, and we forget that sometimes. And so yeah, Debussy for me, he gets in, but in a year and a half's time, maybe he's looking for another club. That's just the way it goes.
Oh, good, big statement there. Right, well, that's all the listeners' questions and whatnot done. I'll quickly throw a bit into the calendar. Saturday at home, West Ham United. They're not coming off a good result. They're not on a high like Arsenal are. Last game they had was that 1-0 loss to Chelsea. How do you see the game panning out, Clive? West Ham, they're another. They get criticised a bit for another long ball team. I think Andy Carroll possibly is out, but they got Sacco, who's firing. Obviously Jenkinson can't play because he's loaned out, but they got people like Cresswell that whips the ball in. Downing is not too shabby with his assists lately. How do you see the game playing out, mate?
See, West Ham is one of those games that they're one of those teams that sort of fall right in the middle of the table. They're sort of like just under European sort of places, and they're not going to go down. And they are close to getting the Hombre Soler out really quickly, because, they reckon Big Sam is, he's not going to, he may not be there, and players are getting a little sniff that he may not be there. So suddenly they start looking after their bodies and not going into challenges because they don't be injured when a new manager arrives because he won't pick them.
Yeah.
So this is when players get selfish, managers go in, okay, I'm going to play my game, 6 out of 10, look after my body. Don't kill myself. We're not going to go down. I don't care about the extra places in the Premiership, so that's just money that goes to the owners, right? So I'll look after my career. So I think West Ham could be the perfect opponent after a big emotional night like tonight. To just come back, home win 2-0. Job done.
Good man. And line-up-wise, do you see Ospina sticking as the lead goalkeeper and maybe Gibbs and Bellerin being the fullbacks, or do you think the same team that went out there even Giroud, do you think Giroud will start? Obviously they're a physical team, maybe, or do you think it might be a case of pace kills, speed kills again?
Yeah, they are quite physical. I think Giroud comes back.
I do as well, personally.
I think Giroud comes back. See, Danny Welbeck now, he's now free, he is now proven. He played in the home game. It didn't quite work out for him. He missed a chance early against Manchester United, and he's now free. Everything's gone from him now. He's done his job. So I honestly, I really feel that could be the start of his career tonight, and he could be.
I hope so.
He could really go on, and so whatever Wenger does with him, he'll accept it because he's done his job. He's delivered. So. Again, we've got
when he come off, he sort of was signalling that he was a bit hurt, wasn't he? He was with the physio and whatnot as well, so you never know. Maybe he could be out. I doubt it though, but
I think
he could be a good impact sub, couldn't he?
Yeah,
if we need him.
I think that it's all about Theo Walcott, really. That's really going to be the conversation on Twitter for the rest of the week, because everyone now knows that.
Well, he stripped him ready, and then that shirt went off with some venom.
Yeah, exactly.
From where I was sat, I was a bit like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so he's going to be thinking, okay, we've lost the Ox now for probably 3 weeks, the normal 21-day hamstring. And Danny Welbeck's probably got a bit of a dead leg there, looks like. So he probably will be done till, I think Monaco's the next one. So, you're looking at this game and thinking, okay, what's he going to do? Is he going to give Theo his head? And if he doesn't, then we really are talking about, there's something going on contractually there, and and then that's when the conversation is going to start this week for sure. That if Theo doesn't start on Saturday, then
just personally, what do you think it is with Theo? Because people speculate. I mean, for me personally, I see it more of that ACL injury. A year out of football's a very long time, and I said that I feel Theo will be brought in gradually, in that he'll have some sub appearances, play some cup games. Obviously, at Brighton he took his goal fantastically, and I just thought it'd be a slow burner, but I didn't believe it'd be as slow as this. I thought maybe now is when he'd be pushing in. And what do you feel personally with Theo Walcott? What's your analysis on the whole thing?
He can go one of two ways, right? So it's his contract standoff time, because Theo got his $100,000 a week out of the club when the club was weak.
Yeah, I can't see him demanding more money this time though. Surely
I think he talks a great game. He's a great ambassador for the club. He never puts a foot out of place. He's a model footballer. But he injured himself running back defending against Tottenham. He was having the game of his life, and he made a number of challenges. He was working back into his channel, and he was just finally convincing us all he could be a centre forward, and a lone centre forward. But he injured himself running back defending, and I've watched him since he's come back, and he's just not defending. He's not pressing. He's not closing down. I think we've spoken tonight about Sanchez and Welbeck and work rate, and people who are like Monreal who are competing more than they did a year or so ago. And we're talking about even Mertesacker tonight was tremendous, and Koscielny always is tremendous. So and what we're saying is we've now got a team of players that do both sides of the job. They defend and they attack. But Theo Walcott is sitting there as an outlier. He said, I'm not going to defend. And if he's not going to defend, then he was sitting next to the manager, and that's what's happening. So something's going on there, in my opinion. And there's a lot of chat on various sort of podcasts, etc., about Theo being the sort of Podolski type player, someone that's all about end product but doesn't combine with the rest of the team. I think there's a bit of truth in that.
For me, with Theo Walcott, I feel that he's a guy where if he has too much time to think about it, that's when he messes up. If he does it just instantly, right, turn, shoot, bang, he normally scores them. I don't know if you feel the same way, or...
Yeah, I just think, it's quite interesting. We've won...
He seems to differ, doesn't he? If he has too much time to think of it, that's when he hits his fluffers and whatnot.
I think we all remember the great finishes and the great crosses and those moments, and he does play for moments, but there's been many games where he is totally invisible and we are literally carrying a player. And it's quite interesting. We've won a couple of big games this year, and it's been done in what I call a collective way. You look at the performance and you think, well, actually, it's hardly a bad one that's happened, and everybody's contributed. I think in the years gone by, we're trying to win these games, but not everyone's contributing, and tonight I can't think of hardly anyone who's had a bad game, so, and that's what you need. When you're playing the big games, you can't carry anybody, and so it dawned on me when Wenger played Welbeck right wing, who's never really played right wing. He played on the left or centre forward, but not right wing. And if he's bringing Welbeck into right wing, that's sending you a message to say you need to do a full, complete job. And if he's not prepared to do it, it's going to be interesting what happens in the summer. So,
All right. Well, on that note, I'll probably end the podcast there. But thank you so much, Clive. If people want to interact with you on Twitter or whatnot, your Twitter handle is
at Clive P AFC.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and obviously thank Judd for coming on earlier. But yeah, thanks for stepping in, Clive. I know it's been a bit of a tricky one tonight.
No problem. If we'd have lost, I might not have been so
accommodated. Yeah,
we've got one-word answers.
That's fine. Hopefully we'll get you on more, because it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. So thanks for that, and hopefully my first foray into hosting isn't as bad as I thought it was. But I'll save the last word for a man who is from Manchester. He goes by the name of Morrissey, and heaven knows they're probably miserable now. Thank you, and good night.